When billionaire CEO Ethan Cole swore he'd marry the next woman who walked through the door, his friends thought it was just another rich man's tantrum. But fate had other plans, because that woman was H0es, his maid, and she heard every humiliating word. What started as a reckless vow spiraled into a battle between pride and love, wealth and dignity, public shame and private devotion. She became the joke in every boardroom, the scandal on every tongue, the woman everyone said wasn't good enough, until the moment she walked out and left him on his knees. But here's what no one saw coming. The man who had everything was about to risk it all for the woman who had nothing to lose. Subscribe and comment if you believe love can survive when the whole world says it's impossible, because this story will prove you right or break your heart trying. The sound of crystal glasses clinking filled the bright dining room. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, catching the edge of expensive china plates and polished silverware. Ethan Cole sat at the head of the table, his jaw tight as he listened to his friends talk and talk and talk. She was gorgeous but so boring, Marcus said, laughing as he sipped champagne. All she cared about was my car. At least yours talked, Tyler added. Mine spent the entire date on her phone. The other men around the table laughed. They were all wealthy, all successful, all single, and all complaining about the same thing. Women who only wanted their money. Ethan's hands curled into fists on the table. His blue eyes narrowed. Maybe the problem isn't them, he said quietly. The table went silent. Everyone looked at him. What do you mean? Marcus asked. Ethan leaned back in his chair. His dark hair was perfectly styled. His suit probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, but his face looked tired, frustrated. I mean, maybe we're the shallow ones, he said. We meet these women at clubs, at fancy parties, places where everyone's showing off. Then we're surprised when they care about money. Tyler frowned. So, what are we supposed to do? Date poor people? The words hung in the air, cold, dismissive. Something inside Ethan snapped. He stood up so fast his chair scraped against the floor. His friends stared at him. You know what? Ethan's voice rose. I'm done. I'm done with all of this, the games, the fakeness, all of it. Ethan, Marcus started. No. Ethan's hands slammed on the table. I'll marry the next woman I see. I don't care who she is. Rich, poor, I don't care. At least it'll be real. The room went completely silent. Marcus's eyes went wide. You can't be serious. I am, Ethan said. His heart pounded in his chest. I swear it. The next woman who walks through that door, I'll marry her. That's insane, Tyler said. Is it? Ethan challenged. More insane than spending my life alone because I can't find someone who sees past my bank account? No one answered. The silence stretched out. Seconds felt like hours. Then the dining room door creaked open. Everyone's head turned. A woman stepped inside. She wore a simple gray uniform. Her dark brown skin glowed in the sunlight. Her black hair was pulled back in a neat bun. She carried a bucket in one hand and fresh towels in the other. Her brown eyes widened when she saw all the men staring at her. I'm sorry, she stammered. I didn't know you were still here. I can come back. Her, Ethan said. The woman froze. What? She whispered. Ethan's finger pointed directly at her. His friends gaped at him like he'd lost his mind. Her, he repeated. I'll marry her. The woman's face flushed. The bucket nearly slipped from her hand. Excuse me? Her voice shook. Marcus stood up. Ethan, this is ridiculous. I made a vow, Ethan interrupted. His eyes stayed locked on the woman in the doorway. You all heard me. The next woman I see, well, here she is. The woman's mouth opened, then closed. Her eyes filled with something between shock and anger. This is a joke, she said. Her voice was quiet but firm. I'm not playing your games. She turned and walked out, fast. The door swung shut behind her. Ethan stood there, his heart hammering. What had he just done? Behind him, Tyler started laughing. Well, that went well. Shut up, Ethan muttered. But his feet were already moving toward the door. Amara Bennett's hands shook as she dropped the bucket in the kitchen. Water sloshed over the side. Breathe, she told herself. Just breathe. But she couldn't. Her face burned with humiliation. Her chest felt tight. How dare he? How dare that arrogant, self-important man use her like that? Like she was a prop in his little game with his rich friends. Amara, she turned. Grace stood in the doorway. The head housekeeper was in her 50s, with silver threading through her dark hair and kind eyes that missed nothing. I'm fine, Amara said quickly. No, you're not. Grace walked closer. I heard what happened. Of course you did. Amara's voice cracked. Everyone heard. Everyone heard him announce he'd marry the maid. Like I'm some kind of joke. He's young, Grace said gently, and foolish, but I don't think he meant to hurt you, didn't he? Amara grabbed a towel and started drying her hands. Hard. Those men were sitting around complaining about women, about shallow women, and then he sees me and decides I'm some kind of social experiment. Grace didn't answer right away. She moved to the counter and started preparing tea. She always did that when things got tense. Tea fixed everything, she said. Mr. Cole is many things, Grace finally said. Proud, impulsive, sometimes thoughtless, but cruel. No, I don't believe that. You didn't see his face, Amara said. He looked right at me and said... Her voice broke. Grace set down the teapot. She walked over and put her hands on Amara's shoulders. Listen to me, she said firmly. You are not a joke. You are a kind, intelligent, beautiful woman. If he can't see that, it's his loss, not yours. Amara's eyes filled with tears. She blinked them back. I need this job, she whispered. I can't afford to lose it because some rich man decided to play games. You won't lose it, Grace promised. I'll make sure of that. The kitchen door swung open. Ethan stood there. Amara's stomach dropped. Get out, she said. I need to talk to you, Ethan said. His voice was calmer now, almost uncertain. No, please, just hear me out. Mr. Cole, Grace said carefully. Perhaps this isn't the best time. I wasn't joking. Ethan's eyes stayed locked on Amara. What I said in there, I meant it. Amara stared at him. Are you serious right now? Yes. You don't even know my name. Then tell me. The words hung in the air. Amara felt her anger rising like a wave. You think you can just walk in here and what? Decide you want to marry me because of some stupid bet with your friends? It wasn't a bet, Ethan said. Then what was it? He hesitated. For the first time he looked uncomfortable, uncertain. It was me, he said quietly, being angry and tired and sick of pretending. So you decided to drag me into it? Amara's voice rose. I'm not some prize you can claim because you're having a bad day. I know that. Do you? She stepped closer. Because from where I'm standing, you just humiliated me in front of your friends, made me feel this small. She held up her thumb and finger barely an inch apart. All because you wanted to make some grand statement about how different you are. Ethan flinched. I'm sorry, I didn't think... No, you didn't. Amara grabbed her bucket. Now get out of my kitchen. Amara, out. He left. The door swung shut. Amara stood there, breathing hard. Her hands were still shaking. Grace handed her a cup of tea. You handled that well, Grace said softly. I want to quit, Amara whispered. I know, but you won't. How do you know? Grace smiled. Because you're stronger than your anger, and because deep down, you know something's not right here. What do you mean? I mean, Grace said, that man just offered to marry a woman whose name he doesn't know. That's not a game. That's something else entirely. Amara shook her head. It's pride. That's all it is. Maybe. Grace sipped her tea. Or maybe it's loneliness. That evening, the mansion felt different. Amara finished her work in silence. She avoided the main rooms, avoided anywhere she might run into him, but she couldn't avoid dinner. The staff ate together at 6 o'clock. Always had. It was Grace's rule. Everyone sits down together, no exceptions. Amara walked into the dining room and froze. Ethan sat at the table. He never sat with the staff. Never. What are you doing here? Amara asked. Eating, he said simply. Grace appeared behind Amara. Mr. Cole asked to join us tonight. I said yes. Amara shot her a look. Grace just smiled innocently. The other staff members were already seated. They all looked uncomfortable. Nobody spoke. Amara sat down at the far end of the table, as far from Ethan as possible. The door opened again. A man walked in, tall, brown-haired, with an easy smile. He looked like Ethan, but friendlier somehow. Caleb, Ethan said. What are you doing here? Heard you had an exciting day. Caleb grinned. Thought I'd stop by. He sat down next to Ethan. His eyes found Amara across the table. You must be the lucky lady, he said. Amara's face heated. I'm not. She is, Ethan interrupted. Everyone froze. Amara's hands gripped her fork so hard, her knuckles went white. Mr. Cole, Grace said carefully. Perhaps I meant what I said this morning, Ethan continued. His voice was steady, firm. I'll marry her. The room went silent. Caleb's eyebrows shot up. You're serious? Yes. Ethan, I'm serious, Ethan repeated. He looked directly at Amara. I made a vow. I keep my vows. Amara stood up so fast her chair nearly tipped over. No, she said. Her voice shook. You don't get to do this. You don't get to sit here and announce my future like I have no say in it. I'm not... Yes, you are. Tears burned in her eyes. You're treating me like I'm something you own, like my opinion doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. And my answer is no. She grabbed her plate. Her hands were shaking so badly she almost dropped it. I won't be mocked for your pride, she said quietly. Then she walked out. Behind her she heard Caleb whistle low. Well, he said, she's got spirit. Shut up, Ethan muttered. Amara didn't hear the rest. She was already gone. She barely slept that night. Her small room in the staff quarters felt too hot, too small. She kept replaying the day over and over in her mind. His face when he pointed at her, the shock in the room, the humiliation burning through her body, and then dinner, him sitting there so calm, so sure of himself. I keep my vows. Like it was that simple, like she was supposed to be grateful. Amara rolled over and stared at the ceiling. She thought about quitting, really thought about it, but she needed this job. Her apartment wasn't paid off. Her student loans were still there, waiting. She'd worked so hard to get this position. The pay was good, the benefits were better, and Grace was here. Grace, who'd given her a chance when no one else would, who'd believed in her. Damn him, Amara whispered into the darkness. She wouldn't quit, but she wouldn't play his game either. Morning came too soon. Amara got up, showered, and put on her uniform. She looked at herself in the mirror. You are not a joke, she told her reflection. You are strong, you are worthy, and you will not let him break you. She walked downstairs. The kitchen was empty, except for Grace. Morning, Grace said cheerfully. Coffee? Please. Grace poured her a cup. He asked about you last night after you left. Amara's hand paused on the mug. I don't want to know. He asked if you were okay. I'm fine. Amara. I said I'm fine. The kitchen door opened. Amara tensed, expecting Ethan, but it was just Thomas, the gardener. He smiled at them both and grabbed his coffee. The morning routine continued. Normal, quiet. Maybe yesterday was a fluke. Maybe Ethan would forget about his ridiculous vow and move on. Maybe... There was a knock at the door. Grace went to answer it. Amara heard voices. Then Grace came back holding the biggest bouquet of flowers Amara had ever seen. Roses. At least 3 dozen of them. Deep red and perfect. These are for you, Grace said. Amara's stomach dropped. No, there's a card. I don't want it. Grace set the flowers on the counter. You should at least read it. Why? Amara's voice rose. So I can see what expensive gesture he thinks will fix this. Because, Grace said gently, refusing to read it won't make this go away. Amara glared at the flowers. They were beautiful, probably cost more than her monthly salary. She grabbed the card. The handwriting was messy, quick, like he'd written it in a hurry. I'm sorry for yesterday. I'm not good at this, but I meant what I said. E. Amara crumpled the card in her fist. Take them back, she said. Amara, I said take them back, her voice cracked. I don't want his flowers, I don't want his apologies, I don't want any of this. Grace didn't move. She just watched Amara with those knowing eyes. What do you want? Grace asked quietly. The question hung in the air. Amara opened her mouth, then closed it. What did she want? She wanted respect. She wanted to be seen as more than a maid in a uniform. She wanted someone to look at her and see her, really see her, not just what she did or where she worked. But she couldn't say any of that. I want him to leave me alone, she whispered. Are you sure? Yes, Grace sighed. She picked up the flowers. I'll return these, but Amara, he's not going to give up easily. That's his problem, not mine. Grace left with the flowers. Amara stood alone in the kitchen. Her hands were shaking again. She thought about the note. I'm not good at this. Good at what? Apologizing, treating people with basic decency? She threw the crumpled card in the trash. The day passed slowly. Amara cleaned the upper floors. She dusted shelves, vacuumed carpets, changed sheets. All the normal tasks. She didn't see Ethan once. Maybe he got the message. Maybe he finally understood that she wasn't interested in his games. She should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt strange, unsettled. It was late afternoon when she went back to her room to change. The day was done. She could finally relax. But when she opened her door, she saw it, a piece of paper, slipped under the door. Her heart skipped. She picked it up slowly, unfolded it. The handwriting was the same, messy, rushed. I'm lonely. That was all it said. Just 2 words. Amara stared at it. No apology this time. No grand gesture. Just honesty. She sat down on her bed, the note still in her hand. I'm lonely. She understood that feeling, more than she wanted to admit. Working as a maid was isolating. People looked through you. They talked around you like you weren't there. Sometimes she felt invisible. Was that how he felt too? In that huge mansion, surrounded by staff but no real friends? No, she told herself. Don't do this. Don't make excuses for him. But the note stayed in her hand, and for the first time since yesterday she wondered, what if Grace was right? What if this wasn't just pride? What if he really was lonely? Amara folded the note and put it in her pocket. She didn't know what it meant, didn't know if it changed anything, but she kept it. The next morning started normally. Amara went through her routine, coffee with Grace, morning tasks, everything the same, except it wasn't. She felt different, softer somehow, like the sharp edges of her anger had dulled overnight. She told herself it meant nothing. One note didn't erase what he'd done, but she kept touching her pocket, feeling the paper there. I'm lonely. She was in the main hallway, dusting picture frames, when she heard footsteps. She didn't turn around. She knew who it was. Good morning, Ethan said. His voice was quieter than usual, almost hesitant. Morning, she replied. She kept dusting. Silence. Did you get my note? He asked. Yes. And? Amara finally turned to look at him. He stood a few feet away, hands in his pockets. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept well either. And nothing, she said. You're lonely, okay, that doesn't change what you did. I know. Do you? She set down her cloth. Because it seems like you think a few words on paper will fix everything. No, he shook his head. I don't think that. I wanted you to understand. Understand what? That I'm not who you think I am. Amara laughed. It came out bitter. I don't think I know who you are at all. Ethan took a step closer. Then let me show you. How? Coffee, he said. Tomorrow morning. Just you and me. No staff. No friends. Just talk. Amara stared at him. You want to have coffee with me? Yes. Why? Because, he hesitated, because when I look at you, I don't feel lonely anymore. The words hit her like a physical blow. She opened her mouth, closed it. No words came. Ethan's blue eyes held hers. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But please, give me one chance to make it right. Amara's heart pounded in her chest. She should say no, should walk away, should protect herself. But Grace's words echoed in her mind. Watch his actions, not his words. One coffee, she heard herself say. That's all. His face lit up. Yes, thank you, But, she interrupted, I'm not promising anything. This doesn't mean I forgive you. It just means I'll listen. That's all I'm asking. She nodded. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. the kitchen. The kitchen? You want to know me? She picked up her cloth again. Then you can see where I work, where I spend most of my time. Take it or leave it. Ethan smiled. Actually smiled. It transformed his whole face. The kitchen it is, he said. Amara went through the rest of the day in a daze. What had she just agreed to? Coffee with Ethan Cole, her boss, the man who'd humiliated her 2 days ago. You're insane, she muttered to herself. But a small part of her was curious. That evening, Grace found her in the laundry room. I heard, Grace said. Heard what? That you're having coffee with him tomorrow. Amara groaned. Does everyone know everything in this house? Pretty much, Grace smiled. How are you feeling? Confused, angry, curious, all of it. Grace sat down beside her. You know what I think? What? I think you're braver than you realize. Amara shook her head. I'm not brave. I'm probably just stupid. No. Grace squeezed her hand. Brave. Because you're willing to see past your hurt to give him a chance. That takes courage. Or desperation, Amara said quietly. Maybe I just want to understand why he did it. Maybe both can be true. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Grace, Amara asked, what if he hurts me again? Then you walk away and you'll survive. But Amara, what if he doesn't? The question stayed with Amara all night. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about tomorrow. About coffee in the kitchen. About blue eyes and messy handwriting. About loneliness. When I look at you, I don't feel lonely anymore. She touched her pocket. The note was still there. This is a mistake, she whispered into the darkness. But she was going to do it anyway, tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. coffee with Ethan Cole. And maybe, just maybe, some answers. 8 a.m. came too fast. Amara stood in the kitchen, her palms sweating. She'd changed her uniform 3 times that morning, which was ridiculous. It was just coffee, just talking, just the man who'd announced he would marry her in front of his friends. Her stomach twisted. Relax, Grace said from the doorway. You look like you're about to face a firing squad. I might be, Amara muttered. Grace chuckled. He's just a man, Amara. A foolish one, yes, but just a man. The kitchen door opened. Ethan walked in. He wore jeans and a simple blue shirt. No suit, no perfectly styled hair. He looked normal, almost nervous. Good morning, he said. Morning, Amara replied. Grace looked between them. I'll leave you two alone. Coffee's fresh. She squeezed Amara's shoulder as she passed. A silent message. You've got this. Then she was gone. Amara and Ethan stood on opposite sides of the kitchen. So, Ethan said. So, he laughed. The sound was awkward, self-conscious. I'm not good at this. At what? Talking. Really talking, I mean. Not business, not small talk. Just real conversation. Amara poured 2 cups of coffee. Her hands were steadier now. Then why did you ask me here? Because I need to apologize. Properly this time. She handed him a cup. Their fingers brushed. She pulled back quickly. I'm listening, she said. Ethan took a breath. What I did the other day, pointing at you like that, it was wrong. I was angry at my friends, at myself, at my whole life really. And I took it out on you. That wasn't fair. Amara sipped her coffee. No, it wasn't. I made you feel small, invisible, like you didn't matter. His voice cracked slightly. But you do matter. And I'm sorry. The words hung in the air. Amara studied his face. He looked sincere, but words were easy. Actions were what counted. Why did you make that vow, she asked. Really, not the surface reason, the real one. Ethan was quiet for a long moment. He stared into his coffee cup like it held answers. Because I'm tired, he finally said. Tired of being alone in a room full of people. Tired of wondering if anyone actually sees me. The real me, not my money or my company or my last name. Just me. Something in Amara's chest tightened. She knew that feeling. Knew it too well. You have everything, she said softly. This mansion, money, friends. How can you be lonely? Having people around isn't the same as having someone who understands you. He looked up at her. Do you know what it's like to smile all day and feel empty inside? Amara's throat went tight. Yes, she knew exactly what that felt like. I worked my way through college, she said quietly. Business degree. I wanted to start my own company. Help people like me. People who didn't have connections or money but had dreams. Ethan's eyes widened. What happened? My mom got sick. Cancer. The word still hurt to say. I dropped out to take care of her. Used all my savings on medical bills. She died anyway. Amara. After she died, I had nothing left. No degree. No savings. No family. Just debt. She wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. So I took this job, because I needed to survive. And every day, I put on this uniform, and I smile. I'm polite. I'm invisible. And I feel like I disappeared somewhere along the way. The silence between them felt different now. Heavier. More real. I see you, Ethan said. His voice was barely above a whisper. I see you, Amara. Her name. He'd said her name. Their eyes met across the kitchen. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Ethan's phone buzzed. Loud. Insistent. He glanced at it and groaned. I have to take this. It's the board. Go, Amara said. But as he turned to leave, he paused at the door. Thank you, he said, for listening, for giving me a chance. Then he was gone. Amara stood alone in the kitchen. Her heart was beating too fast. She touched her chest, feeling the rhythm beneath her palm. This is dangerous, she whispered, but she was smiling. The next few days were strange. Ethan didn't push, didn't send more flowers or notes. He just existed around her, politely, quietly. Sometimes she'd catch him watching her, his eyes tracking her movements as she worked. But when she looked back, he'd smile and look away. It should have annoyed her. Instead, it made her curious. Grace noticed, of course. You're softening toward him, Grace said one afternoon. I am not. You are. I can see it. Amara scrubbed a countertop harder than necessary. He's being less annoying, that's all. Don't me, Grace laughed. Watch his actions, remember? What do his actions tell you? Amara paused. What did they tell her? That he was trying, really trying. He'd stopped treating her like a joke, started treating her like a person. I don't know what to think, Amara admitted. Then don't think, Grace said. Just feel. What does your heart tell you? My heart is a terrible decision maker. Maybe, but it's honest. That evening, everything changed. Amara was cleaning the library when she heard the front door open, heard voices, one she didn't recognize, female, sharp, expensive sounding. Ethan, darling. Amara froze. She shouldn't eavesdrop, should mind her business and keep working, but something made her move closer to the door, just close enough to hear. Vanessa. Ethan's voice was cold. What are you doing here? Can't I visit an old friend? We're not friends. A laugh. Mean. Oh, don't be like that. I heard the most interesting rumor about you. Something about a marriage vow? Silence. Is it true? Vanessa continued. Did you really say you'd marry your maid? Amara's face burned. She knew she should leave, should walk away before she heard more, but her feet wouldn't move. That's none of your business, Ethan said. Oh, but it is. Everyone's talking about it. Ethan Cole, the great CEO, desperate enough to marry the help. Don't call her that. Why? That's what she is, isn't she? A maid. How quaint. Amara heard footsteps. Ethan's voice came clearer now, closer to the library. Get out, Vanessa. I'm just trying to help. You're embarrassing yourself. This girl, her name is Amara. More silence. Then Vanessa laughed again. You actually care about her. Oh, this is precious. Does she know? Does she know this whole thing started as a tantrum? I said get out. Fine, but Ethan, when this blows up in your face, and it will, don't say I didn't warn you. The front door slammed. Amara stood frozen in the library. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might burst. She heard Ethan in the hallway, heard him muttering to himself. She doesn't understand. I meant it. I really meant it. His footsteps faded. Amara's hands shook. She grabbed her cleaning supplies and left the library quickly, quietly. She didn't want to think about what she'd heard, about Vanessa's cruel words, about Ethan defending her, about how her name sounded in his voice. Amara. She tried to avoid him the next day, tried to keep her distance, but that evening Grace found her. Mr. Cole is hosting a dinner tomorrow night, Grace said. He's asked specifically that you serve. Amara's stomach dropped. No, I'm sorry. He was very insistent. Grace, it's formal, business associates, very important. Grace's eyes were kind but firm. You'll be fine. I'll be there too. Amara wanted to argue, wanted to refuse, but she needed this job, needed the money, so she nodded. The next evening, Amara put on her best uniform. Her hands trembled as she pinned back her hair. It's just dinner, she told her reflection. Just serving food. You've done this 100 times. But when she walked into the dining room, she stopped dead. The table was set beautifully, crystal glasses, fine china, candles flickering, and Ethan stood at the head of the table. He wore a dark suit. His hair was perfectly styled again. He looked every inch the powerful CEO. Next to him was an empty chair. Amara, he said, thank you for coming. I'm here to serve, she said carefully. No. He gestured to the empty chair beside him. You're here as my guest. The room went silent. Other staff members stared. Caleb was there too, his eyebrows raised in surprise. Mr. Cole, Amara said quietly, I can't. Please. His eyes met hers. Sit with me. It wasn't a request. Not really. Amara's face burned. She could feel everyone watching, judging. She thought about refusing, about walking out, but something in his eyes stopped her. He looked vulnerable, almost desperate. Slowly, she walked to the chair, sat down. The whispers started immediately. Who is she? The maid. He seated a maid at his table? Amara wanted to sink into the floor, wanted to disappear. Ethan's hand found hers under the table, squeezed gently. Ignore them, he whispered. But how could she, when every eye in the room was on her, when she could feel their judgment like a weight on her chest? The dinner was torture. Amara barely ate, could barely breathe. The business associates asked her questions, polite ones, but she heard the real questions underneath. Who are you? Why are you here? What gives you the right? Ethan answered for her sometimes, defended her, but it only made things worse. By the time dessert came, Amara felt sick. Excuse me, she whispered. She stood up, walked out of the dining room as calmly as she could, but once she was in the hallway, she ran to her room, locked the door, slid down against it. Tears came fast, hot, angry. Why had he done that? Why had he put her in that position? She'd told him she wasn't ready, wasn't sure, and he'd thrown her into the spotlight anyway. A knock at her door. Amara? Ethan's voice. Please, let me in. Go away. I'm sorry. I thought if I showed them you were important to me. You humiliated me. Her voice cracked. You made me sit there while they all stared, while they all wondered what I was doing there. Do you know how that felt? Silence. I was trying to show you I was serious, he said quietly. About you. About us. There is no us. Amara pressed her palms against her eyes. There's you and your pride and me trying to survive. That's not true, isn't it? You seat me at your table like I'm some kind of trophy, some proof that you're different. But you're not different, Ethan. You're just like everyone else in that room. You see what you want to see. She heard him sigh through the door. You're right, he said. I messed up. Again. I keep thinking I can fix this with big gestures. But that's not what you need, is it? Amara didn't answer. What do you need, he asked. Tell me, please, because I don't know how to do this. The honesty in his voice broke something in her. She stood up, opened the door. Ethan stood there, his suit rumpled, his hair messy like he'd run his hands through it. He looked lost. I need you to see me as a person, she said. Not a project, not a statement. Just me. I do see you. Then act like it. Stop trying to prove something to everyone else. Stop making me part of your public performance. He nodded slowly. Okay, I will. I promise. I've heard your promises before. I know. He took a breath. But this time, I'll show you. No more big gestures. No more dinners. Just us. Getting to know each other. If you'll let me. Amara studied his face. Searched for lies. For games. But she only saw sincerity and exhaustion and something that looked like hope. One more chance, she said. But Ethan, if you hurt me again, I'm done, for real this time. I understand. She closed the door, but this time she didn't cry. The next morning, Amara woke to silence. No flowers, no notes, no grand gestures, just her alarm clock and the quiet dawn. Good. She needed space to think. She got dressed and went to the kitchen. Grace was already there preparing breakfast. How are you feeling? Grace asked. Tired. That was quite a scene last night. Amara poured herself coffee. He meant well, I think. But meaning well isn't enough. Grace nodded. No, it's not. But it's a start. They worked in comfortable silence. The morning routine helped, grounded her. Around noon, Amara heard raised voices from Ethan's office. She shouldn't listen, should mind her business. But the door was open, and one of the voices was angry, shouting, You're being unreasonable. I'm being careful. Ethan's voice, strained. These numbers don't add up. They're projections. They're meant to be optimistic. They're lies. Amara moved closer, peered through the doorway. Ethan stood at his desk, phone pressed to his ear. His face was red. His hand shook slightly. No, he said firmly. I won't sign off on this. Find me real numbers, or I'm pulling out of the deal. More shouting from the phone. Ethan's jaw clenched. Then we have nothing more to discuss. He hung up, threw the phone onto the desk. Then he saw Amara in the doorway. How much did you hear? He asked. Enough to know you're stressed. He laughed. It sounded hollow. That's one word for it. Amara surprised herself by stepping into the office. You okay? No. He sat down heavily. My board wants me to make a bad deal. A really bad deal. But they don't care because it looks good on paper. Then don't do it. It's not that simple. If I say no, I look weak. If I say yes, I compromise everything I believe in. Amara thought about that, about choices and consequences. She walked over to his desk. You know what I think? What? I think looking weak is better than being weak. If you know it's wrong, don't do it. Your reputation will survive. Your integrity might not. Ethan stared at her. Really stared. Then slowly, he smiled. You're right. I know. You just gave me better business advice than my entire board. Amara shrugged. Maybe you need a better board. He laughed. A real laugh this time. Maybe I do. She turned to leave. Amara, he called. She looked back. Thank you, he said. You make me better. The words echoed in her chest. She didn't know what to say, so she just nodded and left. But his words stayed with her all day. You make me better. That evening, Caleb cornered her in the hallway. Can we talk? He asked. Amara tensed. About what? My cousin. I don't think... Please. Just 2 minutes. She sighed. Fine. They walked to the library. Caleb closed the door behind them. Look, he said. I know this whole thing is weird. The vow, the drama, all of it. That's putting it mildly. But I need you to know something. Caleb's face was serious. Ethan is many things. Stubborn, proud, sometimes clueless, but he's not cruel. And he doesn't play games with people's hearts. Then what is he doing? Falling in love with you. The words hit her like a punch. That's not... He doesn't... Amara couldn't finish the sentence. He does, Caleb said gently. I've known him my whole life. I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you, like you're the only real thing in his world. Amara's heart raced. You're wrong. Am I? Think about it. Really think. All the flowers, the notes, the dinner. Yeah, he's messing up, but he's trying. For you. Only you. He humiliated me. He made a mistake, a big one. But Amara, people who don't care, don't make mistakes. They don't try. Ethan is trying so hard, he's tripping over himself. Amara sat down. Her legs felt weak. I can't do this, she whispered. I can't fall for my boss, can't risk my job, my heart, everything, for someone who might wake up tomorrow and realize this was all a game. What if it's not a game? Caleb asked. What if it's the most real thing either of you have ever felt? Then I'm terrified. Good, he smiled. That means it matters. He left her alone in the library. Amara sat there for a long time, thinking, feeling, wondering. Was Caleb right? Was Ethan really falling for her? More importantly, was she falling for him? Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She opened it. I know you're scared. I am too. But I'm not giving up. Not on you. Not on us. E. Amara stared at the message. Her finger hovered over the reply button. What could she say? What should she say? Finally, she typed, then prove it, not with gestures, with honesty. She hit send before she could change her mind. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, I will. I promise. Amara closed her eyes. This is crazy, she whispered. But she was smiling. The next few days were different. Ethan kept his promise. No more public displays, no more flowers or notes. Just presence. He'd find her during the day. They'd talk. Small things, big things, everything in between. She learned he loved old movies, that he'd wanted to be a teacher before his father died and left him the company, that he was allergic to strawberries but ate them anyway because he loved how they tasted. He learned she could speak 3 languages, that she wrote poetry in secret, that her favorite sound was rain on windows. They talked about books, about dreams, about all the things they'd lost along the way. And slowly, so slowly Amara almost didn't notice, the walls between them started to crumble. One evening she was in the kitchen, finishing the dishes, humming to herself. She heard footsteps behind her. Don't stop, Ethan said, and that's pretty. Amara's face heated. It's just a song. Sing it. I don't sing. You were humming. That's different. He came closer. Why? Because humming is private. Singing is vulnerable. Good, he said softly. I like when you're vulnerable with me. Their eyes met. Amara's breath caught. Then, without warning, Ethan took her hand, spun her away from the sink. What are you? Dance with me, he said. There's no music. Yes, there is. He started humming, the same tune she'd been singing. Amara laughed. She couldn't help it. You're ridiculous. Maybe, but you're smiling. He was right. She was smiling, really smiling. They danced in the kitchen. No music except his humming. No audience except the dishes. Amara's head rested against his chest. She could hear his heartbeat. Strong, steady. This felt right. In a way nothing had felt right in a long time. Amara, he whispered. Yeah? I'm going to kiss you now. Her heart stopped. Ethan, tell me no, he said, and I'll stop. But if you don't, I need to kiss you. Right now. Please. She should say no, should protect herself, should be smart. But she looked up at him, at his blue eyes full of hope and fear and something deeper, and she didn't say no. He kissed her. Soft at first, tentative, like he was afraid she'd disappear, then deeper, desperate, like she was air and he was drowning. Amara kissed him back, poured everything into it, all her fear and hope and longing. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathing hard. Wow, Ethan whispered. Yeah, Amara agreed. They stood there, foreheads touching, the kitchen forgotten. I meant it, Ethan said. Every word I've said, every promise, I meant all of it. I'm starting to believe you. Good, he kissed her forehead, because I'm not letting you go. Not now, not ever. Amara's chest ached with something too big to name. Maybe hope, maybe love, maybe both. Don't make promises you can't keep, she whispered. I only make promises I intend to keep. She believed him. God help her. She believed him. The next morning, Amara woke up with butterflies in her stomach. She touched her lips, still felt the ghost of his kiss there. Last night had changed everything. She knew it, felt it in her bones. But with change came fear. What if this didn't last? What if he changed his mind? What if... Stop, she told herself. Just stop. Grace's words echoed, don't think, just feel. So she got dressed. put on her uniform, and decided to feel, to trust, just a little bit. The mansion felt different that day, brighter somehow, like the sun shone warmer through the windows, or maybe that was just her. Ethan found her in the afternoon. She was folding laundry in the service room. "Hey," he said. "Hey." She couldn't stop smiling. "I was thinking." He leaned against the doorframe. "We should go somewhere, together, outside this house, like a date." "Exactly like a date." Amara's heart jumped. "I don't know. What if someone sees us? Then they see us." His voice was firm. "I'm not hiding you, Amara. Not anymore." The words made her chest tight. "Okay," she said. "Where?" "It's a surprise." But before their date could happen, everything started falling apart. It started with whispers. Amara noticed them first at breakfast. The other staff members talking quietly, stopping when she walked by. "What's going on?" she asked Grace. Grace's face was troubled. "There's talk about you and Mr. Cole." "What kind of talk?" "The unkind kind." Amara's stomach dropped. "What are they saying?" Grace hesitated. "That you're using him for his money. That you're—" She stopped. "Say it." "A gold digger." The words hit like a slap. Amara's hands clenched. "Who started this? Does it matter?" "Yes." Grace sighed. "Vanessa. She's been calling people, spreading rumors, making you look like I'm after his money." Amara's voice shook. "Like I'm some kind of opportunist. Everyone who knows you knows that's not true. But everyone who doesn't." Amara sat down hard. "They'll believe it. Why wouldn't they? Poor Maid falls for rich CEO. It's the oldest story in the book." Grace squeezed her shoulder. "Let them talk. People who matter will see the truth." But Amara wasn't sure about that. The whispers grew louder over the next few days. Guests at the mansion stared, pointed, talked behind their hands. Amara tried to ignore it, tried to hold her head high, but it hurt. God, it hurt. One afternoon she overheard two women in the parlor. "Can you imagine? Marrying the maid. How desperate can one man be? Maybe she's pregnant, trapped him, or maybe he's just having a midlife crisis." They laughed. Amara stood frozen in the hallway. Her chest felt like it was caving in. She ran, didn't care where, just away. She ended up in the garden, behind the rose bushes where no one could see, and she cried. Not quiet tears, big ugly sobs that shook her whole body. "Amara?" She looked up. Ethan stood there, concern written all over his face. "Don't," she said. "Just don't." "What happened?" "People are talking, saying awful things. About me, about us." His jaw clenched. "Who? Does it matter? They're right, aren't they? I am the maid. You are the CEO. This whole thing is crazy. Stop." He knelt in front of her. "You're not just a maid. You're smart and kind and beautiful and poor," she interrupted. "Don't forget poor, and black, and completely wrong for you in every way that matters to people like them. People like them don't matter." "Yes, they do." Her voice rose. "They're your world, Ethan. Your business partners, your friends, your life. And they all think I'm using you. I don't care what they think." "Well, I do." Tears streamed down her face. "I care because it's my life too. My reputation, my dignity, and right now I feel like I have none of it left." Ethan pulled her into his arms. She tried to resist, but she was so tired of being strong. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry." They sat there in the garden, hidden by roses, while Amara's world crumbled around her. That evening, Ethan confronted Vanessa. Amara wasn't there, but Grace told her about it later. "He was furious," Grace said. "I've never seen him so angry." "What did he say?" "He told her to stop spreading lies, that if she didn't he'd make sure everyone knew what kind of person she really was. And," she laughed, "said he couldn't prove anything, that she was just concerned for his well-being." Amara closed her eyes. "This is never going to stop. It will, eventually. People always find something new to talk about. And until then," Grace didn't answer, because they both knew. Until then, Amara would be the villain in everyone's story. The gold digger, the opportunist, the maid who got above herself. But that night Ethan did something that changed things. He found Amara in the library. She was curled up in a chair, a book in her lap that she wasn't reading. "Can I sit?" he asked. She nodded. He sat across from her, silent for a long moment. "I need to tell you something," he finally said. "About me. About why I am the way I am." Amara looked up. "My father built this company from nothing," Ethan continued. "He was brilliant, driven, and completely absent. I barely saw him growing up, When I did, he was disappointed. I wasn't smart enough, wasn't strong enough, wasn't enough, period. His voice cracked slightly. He died when I was 23. Left me everything. The company, the money, this house, and I was terrified. Because I knew I wasn't ready, wasn't good enough, just like he always said. Ethan, let me finish, please. He took a breath. I've spent 6 years trying to prove him wrong. Trying to be the CEO he wanted. The man he wanted. But it's empty, Amara, all of it, the success, the money, the respect. It means nothing because I'm still that scared kid who just wanted his dad to be proud. Tears filled Amara's eyes. Then I met you, Ethan said, and for the first time in 6 years, I felt like I could breathe. Like maybe I didn't have to be perfect. Maybe I could just be me, flawed and messy and human, and maybe that would be enough. It is enough, Amara whispered. You are enough, he smiled, sad and hopeful at the same time. You make me believe that. She stood up, walked over to him, took his hands in hers. I'm scared, she admitted, scared of getting hurt, scared of losing myself in this, scared that one day you'll wake up and realize I'm not worth all this trouble. You're worth everything. His thumbs brushed her knuckles. But I understand. I'm scared too. Of what? Of losing you. Of messing this up so badly you never forgive me. Of being my father. Pushing away the only good thing in my life because I don't know how to hold on without breaking it. They sat there, foreheads touching. Two broken people trying to be whole together. We're a mess, Amara said. Yeah, but we're a mess together. She laughed through her tears. Is that supposed to be romantic? I'm working with what I've got. She kissed him, soft and sweet and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Ethan smiled. Tomorrow, he said, I'm taking you out. For real this time. No hiding, no apologies, just us. Ethan, please, let me show everyone that you matter, that we matter. Amara wanted to say no, wanted to protect herself, but the hope in his eyes broke her. Okay, she whispered. Tomorrow. The next day was perfect, sunny, warm, the kind of day that made everything feel possible. Ethan picked her up at noon. He wore jeans and a t-shirt. No CEO armor, just him. Where are we going? Amara asked. You'll see. He drove them to a park. Not a fancy one, just a regular city park with trees and benches and kids playing. This is my favorite place, Ethan said. I used to come here as a kid, before everything got complicated. They walked, hand in hand. No one recognized him here. No one cared who they were just a couple, normal, happy. Ice cream? Ethan pointed to a vendor. Always. They got 2 cones, chocolate for her, vanilla for him. Boring choice, Amara teased. Classic choice, he corrected. They found a bench under a big oak tree, sat close, shoulders touching. This is nice, Amara said. Yeah, it is. A little girl ran past. She tripped, fell, started crying. Amara jumped up immediately, knelt beside the girl. Hey, sweetie, you okay? The girl sniffled, showed her scraped knee. That looks like it hurts, Amara said gently. But you know what? That means you're brave. Only brave people get scraped knees. Really? Really. And brave people get back up and keep playing. The girl smiled, ran off to join her friends. Amara came back to the bench. Ethan was staring at her. What? She asked. You're going to be an amazing mother someday. The words hung in the air. Amara's face heated. We haven't even... I know. He took her hand. But I think about it. About a future. With you. Is that crazy? Her heart pounded. Maybe. But it's a good kind of crazy. They sat there, dreaming of futures, of possibilities. An older woman walked by, smiled at them. You two make a beautiful couple, she said. Amara and Ethan looked at each other. Both blushed. Thank you, Ethan said. The woman walked on. She thinks we're a couple, Amara said. We are. Are we? Ethan turned to face her fully. I want us to be. More than anything. But I need to know, do you want that too? Amara's throat went tight. Did she want that? Want him? Want this crazy, complicated, beautiful mess they were making? Yes, she whispered. I want that. His smile could have lit up the whole city. He leaned in, almost kissed her, then stopped. What? Amara asked. I was going to kiss you. Then I realized, this is a big moment, and I want to say something first. Okay. He took a breath. I love you. The world stopped spinning. Amara stared at him, her heart hammering, her mind reeling. You... what? I love you, he repeated. I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring things out, but I love you, Amara. You make me better. You make me want to be better, and I needed you to know. Tears filled her eyes. She wanted to say it back. The words were right there, on her tongue. I love you too. But fear held them back. What if she said it and he changed his mind? What if she gave him everything and lost herself? She started. You don't have to say it back, Ethan said quickly. I just needed you to know how I feel. No pressure, no expectations, just truth. Amara nodded, unable to speak. He kissed her forehead. Come on, let's walk some more. They walked, but something had shifted. Amara felt the weight of unsaid words pressing on her chest. I love you too. Why couldn't she say it? They got back to the mansion late afternoon, both quiet, both lost in thought. Thank you, Amara said, for today. It was perfect. Yeah, it was. But there was distance between them now, small, but growing. I should go, Amara said. Get back to work. Amara, I'll see you later. She left before he could say more. That evening everything fell apart. Amara was cleaning the upstairs hallway. She heard voices from Ethan's study, male voices, laughing. She should have kept walking, should have minded her business, but she heard her name. So the Maid thing is still going on? Marcus's voice. Yeah. Ethan sounded tired. Man, I can't believe you're still committed to that ridiculous vow. Amara froze. Ridiculous vow. It wasn't ridiculous, Ethan said. Come on. You said you'd marry the next woman you saw. That's the definition of ridiculous. Laughter. From multiple people. Tyler's voice. At least she's pretty. Could have been worse. More laughter. Amara's hands started shaking. Guys, stop, Ethan said. But he was laughing too. A little. Just a little. But it was enough. Amara backed away from the door. Her chest felt like it was splitting open. Ridiculous vow. Could have been worse. They were joking. About her. About them. About everything. And Ethan was laughing. She ran. Down the hallway. Down the stairs to her room. Tears blurred her vision. Her breath came in gasps. She'd been such a fool. Grace's voice echoed. Watch his actions. Well, she'd watched. And his actions told her everything. He still saw this as a joke. A game. A silly vow he'd made in anger. And she was the punchline. Amara grabbed her bag. Started throwing things in. Clothes. Toiletries. Everything she could carry. She had to leave. Now. Before he found her. Before she broke down completely. A knock at the door. Amara. Ethan's voice. Can we talk? She didn't answer. Just kept packing. Amara, please, I know you're in there. The door opened. Ethan stood there, smiling, completely oblivious. Then he saw the bag. His smile died. What are you doing? He asked. Leaving. What? Why? She looked at him. Really looked at him. Did you have fun? Laughing with your friends about your ridiculous vow? His face went white. You heard that? Yeah, I heard. Amara, it's not... They were joking. I wasn't... You were laughing, she interrupted. Her voice broke. You were laughing about me, about us. Like it was all some big joke. No, that's not... He stepped closer. I was uncomfortable. They were pushing. I didn't know what to say. How about the truth? Tears streamed down her face. How about telling them I matter? That we matter? That this isn't a joke to you? I did. After you left, I told them... After I left. After I heard you laugh. After you let them mock me. She zipped up her bag. I can't do this, Ethan. I can't be with someone who's ashamed of me. I'm not ashamed. Then why didn't you defend me? Her voice rose. Why did you sit there and let them call this ridiculous? Let them joke about me like I'm nothing. Ethan's hands shook. Because I'm a coward. Because I was scared they'd see how much you mean to me and use it against me. Against us. So you chose them over me? No. Yes. She picked up her bag. You chose your pride over my dignity. Your comfort over my heart. And I won't be someone's joke anymore. She pushed past him. Amara, please. His voice cracked. Don't go. Let me fix this. She stopped at the door, turned back. You can't fix this, Ethan, because the problem isn't what you said, it's what you didn't say, what you've never been able to say in front of people who matter to you. I love you, he said desperately. I told you that today. I meant it. Then you should have said it to them. Tears blurred her vision. But you didn't, and that tells me everything I need to know. She walked out. Behind her, she heard him call her name, heard the desperation in his voice, but she didn't turn back. She couldn't. Grace found her at the front door. Amara, wait. I can't stay, Grace. Amara's voice shook. I'm sorry, but I can't. Grace's eyes filled with tears. Where will you go? My apartment. I'll figure it out. This is a mistake. No. Amara shook her head. Staying would be the mistake. I'm just the punchline to a joke, Grace. I can't be that. I won't. Grace pulled her into a hug. You're so much more than that. I hope you know that. I'm trying to. They held each other for a long moment. Then Amara pulled away, walked out the front door, into the night. She didn't look back. Couldn't. If she did, she'd break. And she'd already broken enough. Inside the mansion, Ethan stood in the hallway, staring at the closed door. She was gone. Really gone. His chest felt hollow, like someone had reached in and torn out his heart. You made her feel like a joke. He turned. Grace stood there, her face hard. I didn't mean... You never mean to, Grace interrupted. But you keep hurting her anyway, because you're too worried about what other people think, too proud to stand up for what matters. I love her, Ethan whispered. Then you should have acted like it. Grace walked away, left him standing alone. Ethan sank to the floor, his back against the wall. What had he done? The study door opened. Marcus and Tyler walked out. Hey man, you okay? Get out, Ethan said. What? Get out, both of you. Now. They left quickly. Ethan sat there in the dark. Empty hallway, empty house, empty heart. And he whispered the words he should have said hours ago. I love her. God, I love her. And I've ruined it. The tears came then. Hot, angry, desperate. He'd lost her. Lost the only real thing in his life. Because he was too afraid to fight for her in front of people who didn't matter. I'm sorry, he whispered to the empty hallway. I'm so sorry. But sorry wasn't enough. And she was gone. 3 days passed. 3 days of Ethan sitting in his mansion, staring at walls, not sleeping, barely eating. The house felt wrong without her. Too big, too empty, too quiet. He'd tried calling, texting. She didn't answer. He'd driven to her apartment twice. She wouldn't open the door. Give her space, Caleb had said. You messed up, she needs time. But time felt like torture. Every room reminded him of her. The kitchen where they'd danced. The library where they'd talked. The garden where she'd cried in his arms. He'd ruined it all. Grace barely spoke to him. When she did, her voice was cold, disappointed. You broke that girl's heart, she'd said yesterday. And for what? To save face in front of men who don't matter. She was right. He'd chosen wrong. Chosen pride over love, ego over truth. And now Amara was gone. On the 4th day, Vanessa showed up. Ethan opened the door to find her standing there, perfectly dressed, perfectly made up, perfectly smug. I heard your little maid ran off, she said. Poor thing. Must have finally realized she was out of her league. Something inside Ethan snapped. Get off my property, he said. Ethan, I'm just... No. His voice was steel. You spread lies about her. You humiliated her. You tried to destroy something good because you couldn't stand to see me happy. Vanessa's smile faltered. I was trying to protect you. Protect me? He laughed, cold, bitter. You don't know the first thing about protecting people. You only know how to hurt them. I loved you. No, you didn't. He stepped closer. You loved my money, my status, my name. But you never loved me. Because if you had, you would have wanted me to be happy, even if it wasn't with you. Vanessa's face went red. How dare you? I loved Amara, Ethan interrupted. His voice broke. I love her. She's kind and smart and brave. She saw me, really saw me, when no one else did, and you tried to take that away from me. She was using you. She was the only person in my life who wanted nothing from me, the only person who saw past the money and the power and just cared. Tears burned in his eyes. And I lost her, because I was too much of a coward to stand up to people like you. Vanessa stared at him, shocked, speechless. Get out, Ethan said quietly, and don't come back. I never want to see you again. Ethan, I mean it, Vanessa. You're not welcome here. You never were. I was just too blind to see it. She turned and left, her heels clicking on the driveway. Angry, defeated. Ethan closed the door. He should have felt better, should have felt vindicated, but he just felt empty, because Vanessa wasn't the problem. He was. That evening, Caleb found him in the study. Ethan sat in the dark, a glass of whiskey in his hand, untouched. You look terrible, Caleb said. I feel worse. Caleb sat down across from him. Grace told me what happened. With your friends. With Amara. Then you know I'm an idiot. Yeah, you are. Caleb leaned forward. But you're also in love, and love makes us do stupid things sometimes. Ethan laughed bitterly. Stupid doesn't cover it. I had everything. She was willing to try, to trust me, and I threw it away because I was too scared to tell my friends to shut up. So fix it. How? She won't talk to me. Won't see me. I've tried everything. No, Caleb said. You've tried easy things. Calls, texts, showing up at her door. But you haven't tried the hard thing. What hard thing? The truth. Real truth. Not just, I'm sorry. Not just, I love you. The deep, scary, vulnerable truth about why you failed her. About why you're terrified. About what she really means to you. Ethan stared at his cousin. She won't listen. Maybe not. But you have to try. You have to fight for her, Ethan. Really fight. No more half measures. No more playing it safe. You want her back? Then you need to risk everything. Your pride, your dignity, your heart, all of it. The words hung in the air. Ethan set down his glass. What if she says no? Then at least you'll know you gave it everything. Caleb stood up. But Ethan, I've seen the way she looks at you. She loves you too. She's just scared, just like you, so stop being scared and go get her. Ethan didn't sleep that night. He sat at his desk, writing, crossing out, writing again. Words were hard. He'd never been good with them, but he had to try. By morning, he had pages. Messy, honest, raw. Everything he'd wanted to say but couldn't. Everything he felt but was too afraid to admit. He showered, dressed, grabbed the pages. His hands shook as he got in his car. This was it. His last chance. He had to make it count. Amara's apartment was small, 4th floor, no elevator. Ethan climbed the stairs, his heart pounding with each step. What if she slammed the door in his face? What if she'd moved on? What if... He knocked. Silence. He knocked again. Go away, came a voice from inside, muffled, tired. Amara, please, I need to talk to you. There's nothing to say. There's everything to say. More silence. Then the door opened. Amara stood there. She wore sweatpants and an old t-shirt. Her hair was pulled back, no makeup, eyes red from crying. She'd never looked more beautiful. What do you want? She asked. Her voice was flat, empty. To apologize. For real this time. I've heard your apologies. Not like this. He held up the pages. Please, just let me say this. If you still want me to leave after, I will. I promise. But I need you to hear this. She looked at the pages, then at him. Hesitation flickered across her face. Finally, she stepped back. 5 minutes. He walked inside. The apartment was tiny. One room that served as bedroom, living room, and kitchen, but it was clean, cozy, very her. Talk, she said. Ethan looked at the pages in his hand. They shook. I was wrong, he started. About everything, but especially about that night with my friends. I know you were wrong. Please let me finish. He took a breath. I told you I loved you that day in the park. And I meant it. I've never meant anything more in my life. But when my friends showed up, when they started joking, I froze. You laughed, Amara said quietly. You sat there and let them mock me, mock us. I did, and I hate myself for it. His voice cracked. But do you know why I froze? Why I couldn't defend you? Because you were embarrassed. Because I was terrified. The words burst out. Terrified that if I showed them how much you meant to me, they'd use it against me. That they'd see my weakness and exploit it. That they'd hurt you to get to me. Amara's eyes widened. My whole life, Ethan continued, I've been taught to hide my feelings, to never show weakness. My father used to say emotion was a liability, that successful men don't love, they calculate. And I've spent years living by that, building walls, keeping people out, being exactly what he wanted me to be. Tears ran down his face now. Then I met you, and every wall I'd built came crashing down. You saw through all my defenses, saw the scared, lonely man underneath, and instead of running, you stayed. You cared. You made me feel like maybe, just maybe, I could be more than my father's disappointing legacy. Amara's hand covered her mouth. But that terrified me, Ethan said, because caring that much meant you could hurt me, really hurt me, in ways no business deal or board meeting ever could. So when my friends showed up, I panicked, reverted to old habits, protected myself instead of protecting you. He stepped closer. But here's the truth, Amara, the real truth. I don't want to protect myself anymore. I don't want to hide behind walls or pride or fear. I want to be brave enough to love you, really love you, the way you deserve. Ethan, I know I failed you, he said. I know one speech doesn't erase that, but I'm done being a coward. I'm done choosing pride over love, done choosing safety over truth. If you give me another chance, just one more, I swear I'll spend every day proving that you matter more than my reputation, more than my friends' opinions, More than anything, the room was silent, except for their breathing. Amara stood there, tears streaming down her face, arms wrapped around herself. "I can't be a joke," she whispered. "I can't be something you're ashamed of." "You're not." Ethan dropped to his knees, right there on her floor. "You're everything. You're the reason I wake up. The reason I want to be better. The reason I believe in love at all." "Ethan, get up." "No." His voice was firm. "I knelt before my father's memory for years, trying to be good enough for a dead man who never loved me anyway. But I should have been kneeling before you, before the woman who actually sees me, who actually cares." Fresh tears fell. "That vow I made," Ethan continued, "when I said I'd marry the next woman I saw. Everyone thinks it was foolish, impulsive, a joke. And maybe it started that way. But Amara, the moment you walked through that door, everything changed. You weren't the next woman. You were the right woman, the only woman." Amara sobbed. "I love you," Ethan said. "Not because of some vow, not because of pride or stubbornness or trying to prove something. I love you because you're kind when the world is cruel, strong when I'm weak, honest when I'm scared. You make me want to be the man you see when you look at me. And that's the greatest gift anyone's ever given me." He reached out, took her hand. "The vow was foolish," he whispered. "But loving you? That's the only vow I want to keep, for the rest of my life, if you'll let me." Amara stared down at him, at his blue eyes full of tears and hope and love. "You hurt me," she said. Her voice broke. "I know. You made me feel small, invisible, like I didn't matter. I know. And I'm sorry. So sorry. I'll spend forever making it up to you if you let me." She pulled her hand back. Ethan's heart shattered. This was it. She was going to say no, and he'd deserve it. Deserve every bit of pain. Amara dropped to her knees in front of him. "I was afraid to love you," she said, tears streaming. "Afraid to trust. Afraid to believe that someone like you could really want someone like me. Not the maid, not the job, just me." "It's always been you," Ethan whispered. "I know that now. I see it. In your eyes, in your pain. In the fact that you're here on your knees risking everything." She touched his face. "You're not perfect, Ethan. You're messy and proud and sometimes clueless, but you're real, and you're mine. If I want you." "Do you?" His voice was barely audible. "Want me?" "Yes." She smiled through tears. "God help me, yes. I love you. I think I've loved you since that stupid kitchen dance, maybe even before. And I'm tired of being afraid, tired of protecting myself. I want to be brave too." Ethan pulled her into his arms, held her like she might disappear. They knelt there on her apartment floor, crying, laughing, holding each other like anchors in a storm. "I love you," Ethan said again. "I'll say it every day for the rest of our lives. I'll shout it from rooftops. I'll tell everyone who'll listen. You'll be so sick of hearing it." "Never," Amara whispered. "I'll never be sick of it." He kissed her, deep, desperate, perfect. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. "Come home with me," Ethan said. "Please, the mansion is wrong without you." Amara hesitated. "What about the staff? The rumors? Everyone who thinks I'm a gold digger? Let them think what they want. I know the truth. You know the truth. That's all that matters. And your friends? I told them to leave. Told them I don't need people in my life who can't respect the woman I love. If they want to be part of my life, they'll accept you. If not," he shrugged, "I don't need them." Amara's eyes filled with fresh tears. "You did that? For me? For us. I meant what I said. No more choosing pride over love. No more half measures. It's you and me. All in. Together." She nodded. "Okay, let's go home." They drove back to the mansion as the sun set, orange and pink streaking across the sky. Ethan held her hand the entire way, like if he let go she might vanish. When they pulled up to the house, Grace was waiting on the front steps. She saw them, saw their joined hands, saw their faces, and she smiled, really smiled. "About time," she said. Amara ran to her, hugged her tight. "Thank you," Amara whispered, "for everything, for believing in me, for being my family when I had none." Grace pulled back, cupped Amara's face. "You were always meant to be here, child. I knew it from the first day. You belong to this house, to him, to us." Ethan came up behind them. "Grace, you need to not mess this up again," Grace interrupted. "That's what you need to do. I won't. I promise." "Good." She patted his cheek. "Now come inside, both of you. Let's have dinner, as a family." Dinner that night was different. Ethan didn't sit at the head of the table. He sat next to Amara, hand in hand where everyone could see. The staff was there, Caleb too, even some of the household members who'd been whispering before. Ethan stood up, cleared his throat. "I need to say something," he started. "To all of you, I need to apologize for the confusion, for the drama, for putting you all in awkward positions." Everyone went quiet. "When I made that vow," Ethan continued, "I was angry, frustrated, lost. But when Amara walked through that door, everything changed. She wasn't part of a vow. She was the answer to every question I'd been too afraid to ask." Amara squeezed his hand. "I haven't handled this well," Ethan said. "I've been proud and stupid and scared. I've hurt the woman I love because I cared too much about what other people thought. But that ends now." He turned to Amara, looked her in the eyes. "Amara isn't my maid. She's not an employee or a joke or a game. She's the woman I love, the woman I want to build a life with, and I'm introducing her to all of you as exactly that. My future wife." Gasps around the table. Amara's eyes went wide. "Ethan, if you'll have me," he added quickly. "I know we haven't talked about marriage yet. I know we're still figuring things out. But I want everyone here to know you're not temporary. You're forever. If you want to be." Tears streamed down Amara's face. She stood up, faced him. "Yes. Yes? Yes, I'll have you. Yes, I want forever. Yes, to all of it." The table erupted in applause. Caleb whistled. Grace cried. The other staff members clapped and cheered. Ethan pulled Amara into his arms, kissed her in front of everyone. No hiding. No shame. Just love. When they pulled apart, the whole room was smiling. "Welcome to the family," Grace said. "Officially." 2 weeks later, they had an engagement party. Not a big one. Just close friends. Real friends. People who mattered. The library was decorated with fairy lights. Soft music played. Food covered every surface. Amara wore a simple dress. Blue. Ethan's favorite color. She looked radiant. Ethan couldn't stop staring at her. "You're staring again," she said. "Can't help it." "You're beautiful." She blushed. "Stop. Never." Grace came over, handed them both glasses of champagne. "A toast," she said, raised her glass. "To love, to courage, to finding each other when neither of you was looking. To family," Caleb added. "Blood or chosen, it's all the same." They all clinked glasses. Amara took a sip, then set down her glass. "I have something to say," she announced. The room went quiet. "Before I met Ethan," Amara started, "I thought I knew what I wanted. A career, success, proof that I was more than my circumstances. But I was so busy trying to be enough that I forgot to just be." Ethan's hand found hers. "Then this crazy man pointed at me," Amara continued, "made a ridiculous vow, turned my life upside down, and I was so angry, so scared, so sure it was all a game." "It wasn't a game," Ethan whispered. "I know that now." She smiled at him. "You taught me that love isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. About fighting through fear and pride and all the walls we build to protect ourselves. About choosing each other, every day, even when it's hard." She turned to face the room. "I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if we'll always get it right. But I know that with Ethan, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not hiding. I'm not invisible. I'm seen. I'm loved. I'm home." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Ethan pulled her close, kissed her forehead. "Dance with me," he whispered. "There's no music." "So? We've danced without music before," she laughed. "That we have." They moved to the center of the room. Ethan's arms wrapped around her waist. Her head rested on his chest. They swayed, slowly, gently. No music, except their heartbeats. No audience except people who loved them. "I never thanked you," Ethan said quietly. "For what?" "For walking through that door. For giving me a chance when you had every reason not to. For seeing me when I couldn't see myself. You don't have to thank me for that." "Yes, I do, because you saved me, Amara. You saved me from a life where I had everything but felt nothing, where I was successful but empty. You gave me purpose. You gave me hope. You gave me love." Amara's throat went tight. "You saved me too. From disappearing into nothing. From believing I didn't matter. From being afraid to want more." They swayed in comfortable silence. Around them, Grace and Caleb danced. Other guests joined in. Laughter filled the room. "You know what's funny?" Amara said. "What?" "Everyone said that vow was ridiculous, that marrying the next woman you saw was the stupidest thing you could do. And they were right. It was stupid, impulsive, completely insane." Ethan pulled back to look at her. But somehow it led me to you, led us to this, and I wouldn't change a single thing. Not the humiliation, not the pain, not the fear, because all of it brought us here, to this moment, together. I'd do it all again, Ethan said. Every mistake, every failure, every stupid choice, if it meant ending up with you. Even the part where I walked out, especially that part, because it taught me what really matters. It taught me that love isn't about pride. It's about sacrifice, about being brave enough to risk everything for the person who makes you whole. Amara's eyes shimmered. When did you get so wise? I had a good teacher. They kissed, soft and sweet. A promise sealed. When they pulled apart, the party continued around them, but they only saw each other. So, Amara said, what happens now? Now? Ethan smiled. Now we live, we love, we build a life together, a real one, with fights and laughter and ordinary days and extraordinary moments, with kids maybe, a future, everything. Everything, Amara repeated. I like the sound of that. Me too. The music changed. Something softer, something perfect. They danced, lost in each other, lost in the moment, lost in love. And somewhere in the room, Grace watched them, smiled, wiped away a happy tear. Look at them, Caleb said beside her. Who would have thought? I would have, Grace said. From the very beginning, they were meant to find each other, meant to save each other, meant to love each other. Think they'll make it, really make it? Grace watched Amara laugh at something Ethan whispered, watched Ethan look at her like she hung the moon. Oh yes, Grace said, they'll make it, because they learned the hardest lesson. That love isn't about perfection, it's about choosing each other, every single day, no matter what. Later that night, after everyone had gone home, Ethan and Amara stood on the balcony. The stars were out. The air was warm. The world felt full of possibility. Happy? Ethan asked. Incredibly. Amara leaned into him. You? More than I ever thought possible. They stood in comfortable silence, just being, just breathing, just loving. Can I tell you something? Amara said. Always. When I first walked into that dining room, when you pointed at me and made that vow, I wanted to hate you. I wanted to believe you were just another rich, arrogant man playing games with people's lives. I don't blame you. But even then, she continued, even in my anger, I saw something in your eyes. Something lonely, something desperate, something real. And I think part of me knew, even then, that you weren't the villain in this story. You were just lost, like me. Ethan's arms tightened around her. We found each other. We did. And I'm never letting you go. Promise? Promise. They kissed under the stars. Two broken people made whole. Two lonely hearts found home. The vow that began as anger had become the promise of a lifetime, and neither of them would change a thing. Months later, people still talked about Ethan Cole and his maid. They whispered in boardrooms, gossiped at parties, speculated endlessly. But Ethan and Amara didn't care. They were too busy living, loving, building their future. Amara went back to school, finished her degree, started planning her business, helping people like her find opportunities. Ethan supported her every step, invested in her dreams, believed in her vision. They fought sometimes, had bad days, moments of doubt, but they always came back to each other, always chose love, always remembered that they were better together than apart. And on their wedding day, a small ceremony with only people who truly mattered, Grace stood up to speak. I've worked in this house for 30 years, she said. I've seen many things, many people, many stories, but I've never seen love like this. Real, honest, hard-won. She looked at Ethan and Amara, both glowing, both happy, both home. You two remind us, Grace continued, that love isn't found in perfect moments or perfect people. It's found in choosing, every day, choosing to be brave, choosing to be vulnerable, choosing to love even when it's scary, especially when it's scary. Tears streamed down faces around the room. So I wish you both everything, Grace said. Every ordinary day, every extraordinary moment, every fight and makeup, every laugh and tear, every single piece of the messy, beautiful life you're building, because that's what love is. Not perfect, but real, and so worth it. Ethan squeezed Amara's hand. She squeezed back. They'd come so far from that first day, from anger and pride and fear. Now they stood together, partners, equals, forever. I love you, Ethan whispered. I love you too, Amara whispered back. And they meant it, with everything they had, with everything they were. The vow had been foolish, but the love was real, and that made all the difference. The end.